Hello, third grade, and welcome to our reading skill for today. Today, we're going to start learning about theme. Make sure that you watch the video over theme before you begin this lesson. We're also going to start learning about folk tales. But before we begin, let's talk about theme. Now, in our iRead stations, we hit on these a little bit, and a theme is a message. The theme is a message, moral, or lesson of the story, so what you learn from the story. It does not have the characters. It can be one word or it can be a phrase. So things like be responsible. A story about someone picking up their things could have the theme of being responsible. Respect, honesty, telling the truth even when it's hard. Acceptance, courage, compassion, never giving up, or friendship. All of these are types of themes. Now, as we read through our fairy tales and our folk tales, I want you to be thinking about what is the theme? What is the lesson that the author wants me to learn? So in our next couple of lessons, we're going to be learning all of these types of fairy tales. Except Parkoi. They all have specific types of characters in their stories, types of settings, characteristics, and we'll look at a bunch of examples for each one. Today we're going to be looking at fairy tales. Folk tales are stories that are passed down from people years over years. A fairy tale normally has characters that are rich or poor, good or evil, have some kind of royalty. So this would be something like Frozen, would be a fairy tale. It's always set long ago. There can sometimes be a castle, a village, or in a forest. You know that it's a fairy tale if it starts once upon a time and it ends happily ever after. Or if it has magic or good versus evil. So some examples are Cinderella, Snow White, or Jack and the Beanstalk. Today we're going to be reading Cinderella. So I want you to look and notice how it's talking about long ago, magic, good versus evil, rich versus poor, and what the theme is. What is the lesson the author wants us to learn? Let's go ahead and begin. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful and kind girl named Cinderella. She lived with her mean stepmother and her two evil stepsisters. Cinderella was made to wait on them, hand and foot. One day, a royal messenger came to the village. He announced that the king's son, Prince Charming, was looking for a bride. The king would be throwing a ball at the palace for all of the maidens to attend. Cinderella wanted to go to the party, but her cruel stepmother wouldn't let her go. On the night of the ball, after everyone had gone, Cinderella sat by the fireplace, crying and wishing she could have gone too. Just then, a fairy godmother appeared and granted Cinderella her wish. With a wave of her magic wand, the fairy godmother turned Cinderella's ragged dress into the most beautiful gown ever made. And on Cinderella's feet were a pair of crystal glass slippers. Cinderella was amazed and thrilled. "Cinderella," the fairy godmother warned, "you must be home by midnight, because this gown will turn back into your own dress on the last stroke of the clock." Cinderella promised she would. When Cinderella arrived at the party, Everyone stared at her amazing beauty, including the prince. The two danced together all night. Then, just as the clock struck midnight, Cinderella quickly ran out of the palace, losing her glass slipper along the way. The prince was determined to find the beautiful owner of the glass shoe, and after searching the entire kingdom, he did. Prince Charming found Cinderella, and the two fell in love. Soon after, they were married and lived happily ever after. So these two parts, one day and happily ever after, are parts of a fairy tale. There's also a prince and good versus evil. We had evil stepsisters and a good Cinderella. So let's fill out some of these parts. What was the magic part of this fairy tale? The godmother. Actually, I'm going to type this out. Go ahead and write this out as well. Where is the setting? Where did it take place? Well, they were in Cinderella's house and at the castle. Who were the good characters? We had the prince, Cinderella, and the fairy godmother. You can pause the video now to catch up. And who were the evil characters? Well, we had the stepmother and the stepsisters. And for the rest of your assignment, actually, let's find the theme first. So Cinderella has two themes. The first one being she went from rags to riches. She went from being a maid to being a queen. The second theme is kindness. Now, from this part of the story that we read, you don't see it very much, but if you know the whole story of Cinderella, she worked very hard at their home and didn't complain at all. And she showed a lot of kindness towards her stepmother and her stepsister, even though they were not kind to her. Now, your assignment is to write a sentence each for the beginning, middle, and end of the story. What happened in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. Once you're finished with that and typing all of this out, you can move on to the next activity for today.